The following is a presentation of iRacing on PTR TV. We'd like to thank all of our channel partners for their support. Please like and subscribe to the channel, and we hope you enjoy today's broadcast. The twists and turns in Southern California has been a staple on racing calendars since memories can go back. You head to the famous corkscrew, you head down the hill, you head through the winding deserts here at WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca. One of the most narrow tracks, but a driver favorite, one that everybody knows. Everybody knows this place inside and out, but getting around this place in multi-class action is never an easy feat, but we're going to have to find that out together. Welcome everyone to PTR TV for tonight's coverage of the Red Sox Racing League here from Monterey, California at WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca. It is our fall season 5 race number 1 here as we just concluded season number 4 again with Ryan Robertson and Robert Barros winning their respective championships in LMP3 and in GT4. Well, we're taking the same car combo here to WeatherTech Raceway in Laguna Seca for this coming season, and we'll see what does occur. Qualifying on track right now for our LMP3 class, and a absolutely gargantuan lead there in class for Ryan Robertson, but Mitch Heller is here as well. So Mitch Heller, a driver who did not get to run all last season. He only showed up for the last couple races, but he is here and hoping to finish out a full season, recovering from an injury, but clearly feeling much better. So we'll see what he can do. And his first lap on the stopwatch, 0.6 of a second slower there. You can see just behind him there. I'm trying to figure out who that was. That was running a very, very similar, if not identical, skill to 418 of Mark Schindel here. I think that is a newcomer to the league, but must be because he's running an exact livery of Mitch Heller. So we have teammates now that we have just now discovered. So Robertson leading down with 2 minutes left in qualifying. Dave Hill did get the pole in the GT4 class. Dave Hill tuned in for about the last half of last season and hoping to have good luck here tonight. Now we do have a couple guys who are not able to show up. Terry Dahl, league admin, had some things come up. I think Bill Lucky is, I'm quite jealous of him. He's outside having a fire and watching a game on an inflatable big screen. So Bill Lucky, if you're watching this, I mean, I'd love to be here, but enjoy yourself. So some other things going on. There's Todd Marin, Pietria League staple driver who has been here for quite a while. New livery this season in the Tag Heuer LMP3 here from Laguna Seca. And I think everybody basically knows the track map here, but we'll just take a gander at it here. Technically, I guess in Salinas, California, 2.22 miles. Of course, the famous corkscrew, that is the downhill switchback that is basically just dropping off a cliff there. So that does get these drivers in precarious positions. In a multi-class, as you can see, there's really no genuine straightaway here. Really off of the final corner, headed down the front stretch into this left-hander is really the best place to pass, but I struggle to say it's actually a good place to pass. There's really, this is going to be akin to like almost a Mossport, what we saw last season, where these passes are going to have to be forced because they're not going to come easy, as Robertson even besting his own lap time there at the front of the field. So we'll see what does happen here. Wilson in 323. Remember, Wilson nearly won the championship last season, but didn't have the run at Montreal that he did need, finishing 5th in that race, I do believe it was, so had to settle for that second in class. Still looking for his first win, but Mitch Heller is still 7/10 off, so be interesting to see what happens. But this is a track where mistakes will be very easy to come by. So it would not surprise me to see some self-induced mistakes, but as he has admitted to himself, Mitch Heller is one that does make self-induced mistakes. It's something he was working to clean up, and sometimes maybe being a little bit slower, but keeping it off of the gravel could be the way to success. So again, the same format here for the Red Sox Racing League. Same thing that we've been used to, our 35-minute races, which kind of pack the perfect punch, everything that you need in a race, 35 minutes. You have the multi-class interaction. We have about, I think, 7-8 cars in each class. Have that multi-class interaction. You have a very tight track with not a place to really safely pass. And of course, we do have our pit stops. With our fuel loads that are in between the 30 and 40% fuel bracket in the fuel cell, so pit stops will occur. Typically, you see them there in the lap. They've been coming later and later from the races I've been covering with these guys. They've been coming almost in the last 5 minutes. Guys really stretching it out, but I've seen guys such as Mark Kudrowski barely, pit as early as possible, and that strategy has also been rather lucrative for him. But we're coming to the end of qualifying here. This is just the end of the cool-down session, so I want to thank everyone for tuning in to PTR TV. If it's your first time, don't make it your last. Make sure you like and subscribe on our mission to 1,000 subscribers, and we are ever so close, so if you have not, it will help us out immensely. And we are having a party and a special event once we do break that barrier. But these guys have concluded their session here, so we'll switch right over into the grid. So let's go ahead and give it to you, the PTR TV starting lineup here today from WeatherTech Raceway, Laguna Seca. On tonight's front row, lap time of 1 minute 18.319. Going to be Ryan Robertson with Mitch Heller outside of that front row. You can see there, big discrepancy of about 7/10 of a second. Mark Wilson in third. Les Turner going to be in the fourth spot. Robert Cantian in fifth. Todd Marin-Pietri in sixth. Last on the LMP3 is going to be Scott Husted there. LMP3 grid, I think I meant to say. And now we start off with our GT4 guys. We have Dave Hill on the front row there with Mark Kudrowski a few tenths of a second back in second. Andrew Humphrey in third. Dwayne McCarthy in the Puma Mobile in fourth. And we have Dennis Griffin in his famous light blue and black colors in fifth. Kevin Kyle, the red, white, and blue in sixth. Scott Husted in seventh. And then we have Sheldon Rosenbaum, and we have Brian Irby. And that will conclude our starting lineup here today from WeatherTech Raceway, Laguna Seca. Let's take a look at our weather conditions here from virtual Monterey. We have 77 in the air with an 84-degree track tip, 6:30 sim time. So sunset may become a little bit of an issue here, but no real other issues besides that. Of course, our race details, as we all well know and love with the Red Sox Racing League, it's our LMP3s and GT4s. 35-minute races, the forced pit stop, and one fast repair is available. But we're on our second season in a row with this, so I'd have to wonder 2024. I think we may be trying something a little different. Usually they do 2 seasons per combo. We'll see what does entail, but the pace car is rolling. Expect the LMPs to have that approximate 15-second head start over the GT4s to create that separation, and we'll be underway in a lap's time. Coming through the underneath the Firestone Bridge here. This is kind of the back-to-back right-handers. And then you switch back, and now you'll head all the way to the left side of the track. A little bit of a kink here under the Mother's Wax's booth there, the overhead bridge, rather. And now you set yourself up for the most difficult part of the track, in my opinion. Not even the corkscrew is right here. You have a left-hander. This is a very narrow complex here. Now, this kink is super difficult because it's very inviting to take way too fast, But when you take away too fast, you end off right into the kitty litter here. So you head off, and this is turn number 6. Now you head up the hill. That is turn 6, the sausage curb. Then now you head right up the hill. You'll soon see them there. And here we go into the dive for the corkscrew. Gonna head down that corkscrew, back down to the right. Can't cut too much of the dirt or you will get penalized. Dirt will get on track, making it a little bit sick. And now we switch back, now that out of 9, now into 10, and then switch ourselves back here for the final run to the checkers, 10 into 11. This is a solid breaking point. Oh, actually, let's kind of get ahead of myself here. Now we're in 10, a little right-hand kink with a little bit of banking to it. And this is a small braking zone, but still one that you can take advantage of for a pass coming to the pit straight. But let's see what happens. Ryan Robertson will be leading this one down with his big competitor of Mitch Heller to his outside. Starter has the green flag in hand, and let's wave it and file off into turn 1. Heading down through the first kink here on the front straightaway, off into turn 1. All is seemingly well for the time being. Les Turner going to go really wide there. And Mark Wilson going to be to his left. But now Wilson on the wrong side of the track for turn number 4 here. They'll go side by side. But let's take a look at our GT4s. They are underway. Dave Hill, huge jump over Kedrowski there. Kedrowski having some connectivity issues. He'll pop back in there just in front of Dwayne McCarthy, who has Andrew Humphrey to his rear. Bring up our live timing and scoring here on the display for you guys at home, and you can see that in LMP3 about 0.6 of a second. I'll be very interested to see with Heller if he's going to be able to figure out what Robertson is doing to maybe run better times. But you can see Robertson kicking up some dust there. If Robertson just does too well, he'll pull away too fast before Heller can even learn and see what's going on. Heller may have been just trying to run race pace as opposed to Q pace, which could be a very big explanation as to why his times were a little bit off there. But then we go back all the way down to Robert Kansian, almost 4 seconds back after one circuit around. Again, this is one of the more difficult tracks we'll head to in this Red Sox Racing League campaign. This is not an easy schedule, in my opinion. I've covered these guys for quite some time. Mark Wilson has taken it to the pits here. Let's take a look at what may have happened to him. He was to the outside of Les Turner here. 4 into 5. What in the world happened there? I kind of scrolled off for a second and missed it myself. We'll have to go from a top-down perspective. I think Turner may have thought he was clear there. And into the wall there. I mean, he lost the front end, but the magics of damage modeling gave it back to him. But clearly the handling never did recover there. I'm also getting prompts that Brian Irby had some issues as well. Let's scroll and see what happened to Brian. A little bit free there. Exited the curb, left side, rather right sides in the kitty litter, and that was enough to send him around. So LMP3's not having the time of their life here to start tonight's affairs. In GT4, closer proximity there, Kedrowski, which is, I think Kedrowski is in a different car this season, if I do believe. He's in a Porsche. I do not remember what he drove last season. Maybe it was just a different paint scheme, or a livery as I should call it, but driving a Porsche here. Aston Martin of Dave Hill leading it down, but they are running very tight times, very close proximity front of the field here. And even Andrew Humphrey, he's about a second back in the 3rd spot. Rather, actually, I misread that. He's actually 5 seconds back there in the 3rd spot. So struggling a little bit within that proximity, but we'll see what he can do. Again, mistakes are aplenty here in the Red Sox Racing League. You can see that is Mark Wilson, who with his issue having to pit for his fast repair, He is now in the mix of these of these GT4s. Now he's going to have to get by both of our class leaders. He's going to want to get by quickly here on the little chute, heading into turn number 6, the kink. And that kink, that sausage curb there, that red sausage curb, and then you go, oh no, Wilson did exactly what I said is very easy to do here at Laguna Seca. You take that curb, that kink a little bit too quick, and oh, there goes the carbon fiber wing, and he just used his fast repair. So now I'm not sure how the downforce is actually modeled with that coming into effect here, but let's take a look from the replay. We'll go top-down perspective. I guess no, he won't. We'll try this one. You see he got loose, and then once he exited the corner, he just, there's nowhere to save it. There's no extra pavement on the runoff. There's just dirt. So he got loose, and he got loose into the gravel, which of course did not help him at all. And you can see there from the rear camera there, the hooks that were supposed to brace that wing, well, they ain't bracing no wing anymore, so I'm very curious if there's actually some handling elements there with that car. But up front here, looks like about a second the lead has stabilized out. Actually, Ryan Robertson has lost the lead, so we'll have, while we're watching the replays, we'll have to check out how this lead change happened. Have it queued up here. This is our lead change heading into the into the corkscrew. I think Robertson, let's just go on board with Robert. We can see on board from Heller. Yeah, Robertson locked it up there in the corkscrew, and then he lost all of his momentum, probably got a slowdown in the process. And that was enough to give Mitch Heller the lead, and now he's actually done a little bit with it. We'll have to see what happens now on another clean lap, what Robertson is going to be able to do. But for the time being, again, Mitch Heller, I talked about a track that's going to be self-induced mistakes. Well, self-induced mistakes have now gone from a detriment to Mitch Heller at other tracks to something that has given him the race lead. Let's go take a look now that that battle has ceased in our GT4 grid. Dave Hill has pulled away by upwards of 2 seconds over Kedrowski. Although last time by, lap times only were about 0.2 of a second different. I don't know if it was a class interaction that potentially threw that situation off, but you can see the wingless race car there of Mark Wilson is getting himself through the field here. Mitch Heller is now just about, oh, did not mean for that to pop up at that location. We will close that one. I do want that to show up, but I want it to show up in a different spot, so I do apologize for that being so big and invasive there. But here comes Mitch Heller through some of our GT4 lineup there. That's the 12 of Scott Husted there that he just got around. Now Ryan Robertson's going to be getting around him there, heading into the final corner into 11. He'll get by a little bit easier here, but now Dennis Griffin. Then you have the 003 of, who is that? That is Dwayne McCarthy just in front. So again, this is, as I talked about with this track, this is a track that there's not a lot of opportunities to safely get around. You can get around guys, sure, but when you get around them, you're going to have to really fight and be very safe there. Heller getting himself off circuit, which again, self-induced mistakes. It cost the lead for Ryan Robertson. You don't want to have karma rear its ugly head. It gave you a little bit of a break. You don't want it to have it reciprocate, which typically it does, but if you can just take the good of it, you'd rather do just that. Heller now by 1.2. There goes Robertson. He's going to be stuck behind that Mercedes there. The number 69 car of Andrew Humphrey. He'll get around him exiting the corkscrew. And here we come through the last few corners here. This is our class lead. Our class lead's going to throw Dave Hill off the track there. Now Kedrowski has taken advantage of it. He's closed in for second. So now that lead that was about a second and a half, now back to just mere car lengths here. Here comes Robertson. He's going to try to motor on by both of them there down the front straightaway. He will do that successfully. So we do have our track map on screen. So that you can differentiate between the classes. Of course, the yellows are going to be LMP3s, and the blues are going to be our GT4s. So when you see them all coagulated together, that lets you know that something juicy is occurring. But very interested to see this lap battle between Kedrowski and Hill. Kedrowski with some wins last season, Dave Hill with some wins last season. So both of these drivers, this could be a very juicy championship hunt. Our last season champion, Robert Barrows, unfortunately not able to be here for tonight in a few races to come due to some scheduling conflicts here. But here comes Kedrowski taking a look. He tried to take a look there at up the hill, but not able to do so. Now really up the hill into the corkscrew, into 7, which is the start of the corkscrew. Hill got off the kink way better, hard on the binders here. Going down the hill, they both stay on track, evading any issues, and Hill is temporarily persevering. Now, can't count out Andrew Humphrey. He's only about a second and a half back of this battle. See, well, to the overall leader. So unfortunately, the graphics don't always like what I'm looking for here. But to the overall lead, to the class leader, he's only about 1.8 seconds back. I think Hill may have taken a defensive line there in turn 1. Interesting, rather turn 2, because technically the kink on the front straightaway is turn 1 by definition here. So through the kink there, oh, hopping the sausage curve there is Dave Hill. That's not going to be good for pace. It's going to allow Kedrowski to close in. You can see kicking up dust off of every single corner here at Laguna Seca. And this battle is super juicy. Now up front in LMP3, I'm telling you, I'll pull up the lap time graphic, and I'm not sure how clean the last laps were for both of your class leaders, but 0.3 of a second faster for Heller. So he didn't have the Q lap, but I think he just needed to get in the rhythm. This lap should be clean for both of them. So we'll keep the ticker on the screen so you can kind of see what the lap time variant is going to be for this circuit around. So we got a 589, 588, so nearly an identical lap to a 19 flat. So Mitch Heller, again, he picked it up from qualifying, running some super consistent lap times. And Ryan Robertson, he went from what I thought was going to be another dominating effort now to I got to find some speed. Still, this GT4 battle for the race lead is absolutely stunning right now. They are just on top of each other. That is an LMP3 in the form of Todd Marin-Pietri in the 808 car. He is going to try to get by here through the kink. Well, rather, not through the kink, a lot of kinks here. This is through 3 and 4. Now the run to 5. He's going to get by 1 on this side, 1 on this side. Hard on the brakes for turn 5, the long left-hander there. And now we're going to head up the hill to the very narrow straightaway. And this is the kink. This is the kink that got Mark Wilson out to dry. Got to take it aggressively. Got to stay on track. You cannot hit the sausage curb, because if you do, you will have the occurrence that Mark Wilson had. Brian Irby taking it to the pits. Not sure what's going on there. But Kedrowski did drop back by a few car lengths. It was about 0.3. Now it's 0.6. But again, very easy to make very small mistakes here. But it looks as though Dave Hill has put a couple corners together quite favorably, pulling away. Kedrowski still within range. Now I'm wondering, Kedrowski always has a strategy of pitting early, and I have not figured out the math on it. I do not know why, It always seems to work in his favor, where if he pits early, he somehow cycles out to either a large position gain or even the race lead by doing so. So the pit window, I would imagine, would open up within the next 2 to 3 minutes. And we'll see if he wants to pit with Dave Hill, which I would assume to be late in the stint, late in the fuel run, or if he wants to take the undercut and pit at the beginning of the window. I think what happens is it throws him into his own little bubble on track, where he's able to kind of run Q laps and minimal interactions to deal with, nobody in class to deal with, so maybe it lets him run those flyers. That's my only guess, but I'll tell you, every time Kedrowski does that short pit strategy, it works out, but very few have begun to try it, very surprisingly enough. .5 seconds for Robertson as a detriment to Heller there. Last time by, he was 0.4 of a second faster, so they are kind of trading laps. Going to Marin Pietri in third. Mark Schindel, have not talked about him. We could tell you he's running an identical livery to Mitch Heller, so I'm going to use every presumption in the world to assume that they are working together in some capacity. Running in the 4th spot in his series debut, you have Robert Cansium in 5th. And then Mark Wilson in the wingless mobile in 6th. And then Brian Irby back on track, but running shotgun on the field within class. In GT4, of course, we've talked about our race leaders for the longest time, but again, Andrew Humphrey has lost a little bit of time. He was about 1.5 seconds behind those top two, but now it's upwards of 4 seconds in the rears. Dwayne McCarthy running by himself there in the 5th spot. And then rounding out our grid of drivers is Scott Husted in 6th, and then Kevin Kyle shotgun on the field. Les Turner, you can see he is out. He was involved in that first incident with Mark Wilson, and clearly it was not worth, in one way or another, getting back on track. They do have a fast repair, but regardless of it, Les Turner has taken it rears in tonight's race. And oh no, Kedrowski off track. This is, again, I talked about it over and over. Self-induced mistakes. Now he has lost the 2nd spot to Andrew Humphrey, but again, self-induced mistakes. I cannot remember offhand what race it was that Kedrowski had about 1 or 2 mistakes, but he made 1 or 2 mistakes in a race, and he never was able... Oh, I'm very sorry going through a bunch of screens there, but yeah, he just overcooked that by about 1 mile. He was behind Dave Hill, had a super good run. Oh, we got to go on board there and try and see what happened there. So we're coming through the kink. Well, we're coming out of 5, heading into the kink, rather. Did Dave slow down more than he expected? That's really all I can conclude there, is that Dave slowed down more than Mark was expecting, and Mark was presented with 2 options. Very similar to what, if you watched NASCAR, what happened with Kyle Larson a few weeks ago, is, oh no, we have a battle. We have a change for the lead in LMP3. Now Ryan Robertson to the race lead over Mitch Heller. I have a big inkling that class interaction was to boot here. Let's take... Oh, it was more self-induced mistakes. Here we go. Now, it was slightly due to traffic there. That's Kevin Kyle. And I think Scott Husted there to the inside. Oh, he got loose under braking and ran out of racetrack. And there goes Ryan Robertson by the whole kit and caboodle there. He got by. So now, again, as I always say, karma, turnaround is fair play. Mitch Heller got the lead off of a mistake by Ryan Robertson. Now, he's going to have to battle back the hard way. Dave Hill coming into the pit, so he's going to come in on the early end of the spectrum here. And did he make his pit stop? Yes, he did make it into his stall. I thought he may have overshot it there. But so let's see what happens. Maybe he has the broadcast feed up, and I always talk about Kedrowski early pitting it. Well, Dave Hill going to early pit, but now we'll see what happens. Now that Heller's in second, again, they were trading laps. There was a good sequence of laps consecutively that Heller was faster than Ryan Robertson. But we'll see. I mean, Ryan Robertson made one mistake here today. Does he make two? I don't know. I don't typically see that. So we'll have to wait and see what did come to fruition there. Andrew Humphrey is still leading over Kedrowski. Kedrowski not able to get by. I know he is significantly faster than Humphrey, but perhaps the aero wash, perhaps just getting distracted, not focusing on his own line, focusing on the line of Humphrey, because sometimes once you get in front, you're running your own thing. When you get behind, you just get to focusing on what's going on behind you, or rather in front of you. So maybe he's not on his line there. I think there goes Ryan Robertson just behind, entering turn number 11 here. He should be able to power by both of them before we get to turn 1. And we'll have to see when pit stops do come out to play. It was 9.3 seconds in the pits for Dave Hill with a 31.8 second pit stop delta. We will have to watch that very closely, because that usually comes into fruition in these races to determine who the ultimate winner is going to be. Mitch Heller a little bit free there, trying to get by those GT4s, but he lost quite a bit of margin there. That little mistake cost him almost a second. Kedrowski, through the meanwhile, was able to get around Andrew Humphrey, so now he could start putting some flyers down. But I don't think it's going to work out in his favor. I think Dave Hill is going to be in a very prosperous position once this field does even out. Let's go on board here with Mitch Heller and see if we can... we're on board with Ryan Robertson. Now we're on board with Mitch Heller. And yeah, there's the gap to Robertson. He's still within distance. He's about 2 seconds. 1.8, 1.9. So he's running good laps, and let's go pull up our, we'll go back on board one more time, pull up our battle tracker here. 119.35 to a 119.45, so about a tenth faster. A tenth is something. Again, this is pressure that Ryan Robertson has not been under very frequently. Robertson usually is out by 18, 20 seconds. He's cruising. He's thinking about what to make for breakfast tomorrow. No, tonight he is fully engaged in both keeping it on the track and keeping it ahead of Heller. And keeping on the track is the first step in keeping it ahead of Heller. But Heller has the speed. And again, they are kind of trading laps. So by them doing that, he can't make a mistake. And you can't make a mistake when the guy is, you know, very near in your rear view mirror. And nearly went wide there. I thought he was going to have to slow down there. I thought he was a little wider than he needed to be, but not too far bad. Heading down through the corkscrew there. You can see the interval going down quite significantly. Heller really got through the corkscrew that time. Took about a half second off. And Robertson very slow. Did Robertson get a slowdown? I think he did. He's going to pull it right to pit lane. Let's go on the replay here, see if anything happened to Robertson through the chicane here, through the corkscrew rather. Did he? Oh, he locked it up, and then he got the right sides in the dirt there. I don't know if that's enough for a slowdown. By the looks of it, it was. By what happened, but he took that opportunity and just immediately said, "This is my pit lap. I screwed up. He's right there. Let me just come in and pit." Now it'll be interesting to see what Heller does in reactionary to that move. Now in GT4, Kedrowski has pulled away by about a second over Andrew Humphrey. Dave Hill, still the Lone Ranger within class to take it to the pits. And we're trying to look right now, 27 seconds behind, nearly 28. The point of interest here is that the pit lane delta time for Dave Hill was 32 seconds. So basically, as long as his gap on track to the overall, or to the class lead, is less than 32 seconds, that means he's going to come out with the lead. So as is right now, I think he would come out with roughly a 4-second lead over Kedrowski if Kedrowski has an identical pit stop time to Dave. So that is just a number to keep in the back of your mind there. But Heller just surpassed turn 11. He's going to keep it on track for one more lap. Heading into 11 minutes to go, estimating 27 here on the evening. We just completed 18, so roughly 9 more laps within class here at Laguna Seca Raceway. There goes Ryan Robertson trying to get by our second place. That's Kedrowski and Humphrey, who's in third, just getting by. And then you have Dwayne McCarthy third, Dennis Griffin in fourth, Scott Husted in fifth. Kevin Kyle and Husted having a little bit of a battle here, fifth and sixth within their class. And then there comes Dave Hill just behind. Hill, he's not going to want to waste too much time behind them because that will cost him time and ultimately could cost him the class lead or a less big of a lead. Somebody in the pits, that's Dwayne McCarthy there, and the 003, the vibrant colored Puma BMW here on the evening. And let's see if Mitch Heller coming through the back end of the track. Nope, he's going to keep it on circuit for one more lap. Again, every lap he stays out is that much shorter of a pit stop that he will have, which ultimately could shake out where he stands in relation to Robertson at the end of the ball game here. Now, if we take a look at Robertson's pit stop cycle, pit lane delta 30 seconds. So now Ryan Robertson is 26 seconds behind. Now, you do have to, here at Laguna Seca, run the access road all the way through the exit of turn 2. Now, our delta time there, our pit lane time goes cone to cone. It does not include the run all the way down there. You can see to the left, to the right of those little cones. It does not include running on that access road, that very narrow and merging there. That part is on the driver. So you can have the crew and the stop, but you have to enter the pits, which is also difficult. And Mitch Heller now in his box. Let's see what the call is. Oh no. Heller, is he done? He's done. What happened to Mitch? All right, Dwayne McCarthy just in front, hard on the binders. Got loose. There goes the rear body there. The tires were absolutely decimated, and no way he was going to take it back to the pits. He did a repair there. Let's take one more look at that. Okay, Laguna Seca, one of the toughest tracks. He got by Dwayne McCarthy did nothing wrong. I think Heller just dove it in really hard, and the back end came out, and that was the end of it. They do have a fast repair in the league, remember, but the fact that he had to tow back to the pits would have cost him so much time that I think he would have succumbed to the fact that he probably would have finished last. So this will likely be a drop week, and now Ryan Robertson can he can cruise. This is what he's used to, a 22, 23 second lead. He can cruise, but the game not over in GT4. Now, Kedrowski did already pit, and Kedrowski, where does he has a lead. This is beyond me how this happened. He has a lead. Let's take a look at the statistics here. Kedrowski 8.7, 31.4 in the pits. 9.3, 31.8 in the pits. So the pit lane delta time very much equal there. So I'd have to imagine Kedrowski was a lot more aggressive on the access roads and maybe ran more consistent laps than Dave Hill in the lead up to the pit there. Or maybe Dave Hill is just kind of off the pace a little bit, maybe making some mistakes. As I saw some dust kicking up there, I thought it was Kedrowski, given what occurred here. But Kedrowski, actually, let's just fully take a gander. Now, Andrew Humphrey, he already pit as well, so we're completely shaken out here in GT4. The pit lane time basically the same. So Andrew Humphrey, in a complete last second just shuffle of the results here, has himself as the class leader with just over 6 minutes left in the affair. 1.6 seconds over Kedrowski. Remember, Kedrowski did pass him on track a few laps ago, and he is closing in. Kedrowski's been getting through the corkscrew, I think, better than anybody within the class. And that lead is not insurmountable at all. Robert Kansian pitting in LMP, which will get the results back to where they were prior. But this ball game is not over. Kedrowski missed the apex there in 11. That should cost him a little bit of time there. See, that is the gap first to second. And Dave Hill, who I thought was the fastest car here, is now 6.5 seconds back. And maybe that early pit stop, it usually worked out for Kedrowski. And if he's listening to me on stream and took that strategy because of that, well, Dave, I'm sorry. It worked out very frequently for Mark, but unfortunately not for him here today. Kevin Kyle back there, he is in 5th. Wayne McCarthy in 6th. Scott Husted in 7th. There is no GT4 attrition. All the attrition here within class. Now, this is what I was talking about. This is the access road. Very, very narrow, particularly in these GT4s, which are very slow and heavy. You have to make that corner, and that is all up to the driver. There's a lot of time there to be had, to be lost. Obviously, Humphrey did a phenomenal job of it. Still waiting for Dennis Griffin to pit within class. He is being scored as the leader at the moment within class, but he is still due for his pit stop. And I did miss a lead change as well. So the lead change did happen for the race lead. Kedrowski did get by for the race lead. So we will have to try to sort out what happened here with 4 minutes left. What happened to give Kedrowski the lead? Over Andrew Humphrey here, very late in the efforts, but it did work out for him to take that race lead. I'm just going to scroll back a little ways and try to find the moment, and I did find it here. Looks like some class interaction did occur, getting by, I think that may have been Schindel, slowed up Humphrey there heading up the hill. They ran side by side into the corkscrew there, and very aggressive on the outside. It gave Kedrowski the run. So now because of that, Kedrowski does have the lead by about 0.7 of a second, and the gap is stabilizing. These guys are just so dead equal that it's just really, in both classes, mind you, it's literally been a matter of who is going to make the mistake, because the mistake happened in LMP to give Robertson the lead to Heller. Heller gave it back to Robertson, and now here we go in GT4, but these guys are still on each other's tail. Tell you, Humphrey's not going away. We're having probably about 2 laps to go. Marin Pietri up by 45, or rather, he's 45 seconds behind Robertson. He's in 2nd, but they are now closing in. Here comes Robertson with a huge lead, closing in on the class lead for GT4. Now there goes Robertson trying to squeeze by. Looks like Humphrey gave him the lane there. He probably sacrificed himself, but this is the difficult part of the track. We saw 2 guys go off here. We saw Mitch Heller go off. We saw Mark Wilson go off. And it does appear as so that I think Humphrey maybe was a little bit too nice to Robertson there. Robertson, who really was under no rush, I think he would have just waited and got by at a safe opportunity, but I think Humphrey may have cost himself there with his kindness. But let's take a look here at the timer. This is going to be very, very tight. Average lap here about 1:21, and it's going to be a take your pick scenario here at Laguna Seca. I think So let's just say the best lap for Ryan Robertson was a 118. We hit the stripe at 118. So this is going to be a literal flip of a switch. No idea. This could be the white flag. This could be 2 to go. We'll have to find out together. So a great race here for Ryan Robertson, who took the lead after Mitch Heller kind of had his mistakes. Heller had made a small mistake, made a chronic mistake, and ultimately that put Robertson in a scenario he is very much used to, which is just up and dominating. He's going to enter the bus stop here, the corkscrew, with 30 seconds to go. We'll check the timer. Kudrowski up over Humphrey now by about 1.5 seconds, so that has kind of solidified. But let's take a look here. Again, this could be a last second call to the checkers. We could have one more to go. We're literally going to be down to the second here on this. Yep, we're getting the call to the checkers here. Not enough time. Barney's going to say it's over. Ryan Robertson, a season opener win for LMP3 here at Laguna Seca by 46 seconds over Todd Marin-Pietri here. And then coming off of the final corner in GT4, the mistakes worked out in his favor. He finally came through here, and Mark Kudrowski overcomes the errors, and he'll take the class win here for GT4. Great job here in the Red Sox Racing League by these guys. A very, very tough racetrack here that took a lot of these guys off circuit here, making mistakes, but they did the best they could, and ultimately put on a good show here for their season opener. So while they do finish this race out, because remember, they do have to get back to the pits under their own power. They do have to do that. So while they do that, let me go ahead and give you the unofficial results here today from WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca. I feel like I said Mazda Raceway at some point, but this track has changed sponsors a billion times. With the overall win, Ryan Robertson gets it by, I guess, 50 seconds by the final margin there over Marin-Pietri, Robert Kansian in third, Mark Wilson in fourth. The results kind of scattered here with the LMP3 attrition. Kudrowski getting the win by 1.8 seconds, Dave Hill in third, Dwayne McCarthy in fourth, Dennis Griffin and Scott Husted in sixth. Kevin Kyle was the final GT4, and then the final results of our LMPs that all had issues: Schindel, Heller, Irby, and then Les Turner, who had issues 2 laps into the race with the issues that happened with Mark Wilson. So now we are going to have to just wait for our post-race interviews. We know that we'll have Ryan Robertson. He's always in these for these interviews, so we'll just have to wait. And then Mark Kudrowski. I don't think we've got to talk to Kudrowski. So I don't know if he will be around with us here today, but we do expect to see Ryan Robertson, so we'll just wait a minute and allow him to get in here. And with no further ado, he's right on point. Ryan, this was a chaotic race. There's no other way to sugarcoat it. You guys were making mistakes left and right, going off track, getting slowed down, swapping the lead with the mistakes, and ultimately Mitch just completely did himself in, though. Let's talk about that one. That one was one of the toughest ones you've had to drive through.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, I talked about it last week where I am terrible with the brakes on here, and the corkscrew was not fun. We'll put it that way. And yeah, blew through the corkscrew a couple times, got a couple slowdowns, and yeah, it was just who could make the least amount of mistakes between me and Mitch, and like we had basically the same pace, so it was a matter of who was going to make it to the end. And unfortunately, I don't know what happened to him, but he had a bigger mistake than any of mine. So
yeah, he had a chronic mistake there in the kink heading up into the corkscrew, but kind of akin to Mossport last season. This track, there's really no good place to pass here, even in the same class, let alone a multi-class. How chaotic was it, catching those GT4s at certain spots?
Oh, it's a constant battle, just even in your head of like, should I send it? Because I race GT3s in a mixed multi-class normally, so I'm used to being in the slower class, and it's like, you don't want to be an ass and like shove your way through, but you don't want to lose so much time, which you can. Like, you catch them in the kink, you catch them in the corkscrew, that's a couple seconds instantly gone. So yeah, I don't know. It's a trade-off, and just trying to keep the leader in touch, or keep whoever's behind you and like just out of reach.
Yeah, the
without,
irony was
making enemies.
The irony was you were actually catching the class battle of Kedrowski and Humphrey, and I was like, you had a 50-second lead. I know you're gonna wait, and I think Humphrey actually let you go, and that cost him because he fell so far back. So it doesn't matter what class you were in, but let's see where you guys are next week. I think you're gonna have to hit the purchase button here on iRacing because we're at Willow Springs next week. I don't know if you have Gran Turismo or anything. Have you ever turned a lap there at anything?
Nope, no idea what it even looks like. So we'll do a little bit of practice to try to figure that out.
I'll give you a hint. A lot of sand and a lot of new fancy bushes if you have your graphics settings up. So we'll see what you can do next week. And congrats on another win, man.
For sure, thanks. I just want to shout out my team, Satellite Racing sponsor, Dr. Dabber. Shout out to Lester Terry for running the league and you for casting.
All right, thanks, my friend. We'll catch you soon.
See you, Court.
Well, I kind of extended that interview because Ryan's fun to talk to, and because I was hoping to see if Mark Kedrowski would pop in, and I do not see him. So we'll just kind of wrap this up, and if he pops in, we'll give him a quick word. But make sure you like and subscribe to the channel again on our mission to 1,000 subs. We want to get there so fast. We are planning a big fancy event, culmination of all of our leagues. We'll have some really fun races to do, and some fun combos and some giveaways and prizes and all this fun stuff. So when we get to 1,000, we're having a party, but we got to get to 1,000. Let your friends and everyone know. Log on to your sub accounts. Just, help us out. We've been with the league for a while, so we just really want to hit that milestone. So just please help us out. Doesn't look like Mark's going to come in and talk to us, so we're just going to have to wrap up tonight's coverage. So thanks everyone for tuning into PTR TV. This is Corey signing out of the booth. Have a great night, and we'll catch you next time.